most respectfully ask you and putting a question to you. Why are you here? This is a serious question, as you have put to the speaker several other questions. Why each one of us is here in this not too nice weather, windy, and one hopes that you are comfortably seated. But why? Not that you are not seated comfortably, but why are we all here? Is it out of curiosity? Nothing better to do? I'm asking these questions most respectfully, not in any sense of impudence. Are we here to be stimulated, to be challenged, to have more energy or release energy, or merely intellectual flirtation? A good word. Or romantically, sentimentally, or some kind of help, wanting to be helped by another. If one put all these questions to oneself, what would be our answer? You might just as well ask the speaker why he is talking. Is it a habit? Is it he feels happy facing an audience, fulfilling, and that he needs an audience? All these questions must not only put to oneself but also to the speaker. And if we explore into that why we are doing what we are doing, with all this trouble, travail, and the anxiety and fear of all life. And if one doesn't find an answer, why the speaker is going on the various continents talking for the last 60, 70 years, is it a habit to him? He has tested it out, kept quiet for a year and more. And also, at one time, he talked behind a curtain to the audience, and it felt rather silly. And so he went before the audience. He has tested this out very carefully, whether he depends on another to fulfill, to be, to become, to feel famous, all that nonsense. Why, in his return, he's asking you if he may respectfully why we are all here. Is it old age? Because we have nothing else better to do? Is it that we really deeply want to understand ourselves? Is only acting as a mirror in which each one of us can see ourselves as we are? Not be depressed or elated to discover what we are. Is it that mirror, clear, sharp, every feature of it is so, there is without any distortion? And if that mirror is clear and you see oneself exactly as one is, then the mirror is not important. You can break the mirror without feeling any lack of luck. And if you can answer that question, it's rather serious. Why we behave as we do, as each one of us does. Why we think in certain patterns. Why we follow somebody. The crazier the better. Why we store up all the things that one has said, that others have said. Why there is nothing in ourselves that is ourselves. And to discover what we are, that ourselves, what deep-rooted seed, not only the cultural seed, the traditional, the religious, all the outgrowth of all that, but go very, very, very deeply in oneself to find out the origin of all things, not the cells and all that, not the genes that one has inherited, but much beyond all that. Shall we go into that a little bit? What is the origin? Not the biological and evolutionary process, the origin of all things. This demands or asks, what is the creation? What is creation? Who created all this? The marvelous universe, everything living in it and out of it. What's the origin of all that? You want to go into all that? Sure? Why? As an amusement, a form of entertainment, something new. I'm afraid it's not anything like that. Our brains have extraordinary capacity. Extraordinary. Not ordinary, but beyond all ordinary things. When one observes all the technological world, what they have done and what they are doing and what they are going to do, tremendous advancement. The brain has this capacity. The computer is going to take over more and more all our activity, more or less, except sex, and probably it can't look at the stars of an evening. But it's going to take over all our activity. It may bring about a new industry, new way of living. Without electricity, it may depend on light. They are having great competition. America and Japan, tremendous competition. And we'll all be slaves to that God. The computer. So we're saying the brain has an extraordinary capacity. But that brain has been restricted, narrowed down by our education, by our self-interest. I know you will hear all this, but you will do nothing about it. That's all right too. And that very brain, which has evolved for centuries, millions of years, that brain has become what it is now. Old, tired, with a lot of trouble, conflicts and misery. That brain, which is the center of all our existence, all our being, which is the future and the past, we went into it the other day. And this brain wants to find out what is beyond all this, what is the origin, the source, the beginning. Can it ever find out? You understand my question? Can it ever find out what is the source, the light, the beginning of all creation, of all things? Not only ourselves, but the tiger, marvelous trees, Have you ever been very close to a wild tiger? No. We have been very close, almost touched. Why? And who brought all this about? The inexhaustible nature. And the rivers, the mountains, the trees, the lawns, the groves, the orchards, and us. How will you find out? Please ask this question of ourselves. How will you, ordinary human beings like us, find out something with science, biology, and bio something or other, and the people who are digging into the earth, finding new cities? How will you find out? By following somebody? By making some gurus inexhaustibly rich? How will you go into this? That's my question to you. Who will answer it? Are you waiting for the speaker to answer it? Or invent a new God who say that he created it? That invention, that imagination is still part of the brain. So how will you find out? May I leave you with that question? What will you give to it? Give in the sense, your energy, your capacity, your enthusiasm, your passion, your whole time to find out. Or will you treat it like something, oh, I'm too busy today, I'll think about it tomorrow? Or is a question to put to the old, not to the young generation. We are too young to think about all that. But how much energy will you give to it? Not seeking energy or releasing it, that's all too childish. May I go on with these questions? I work as a teacher, and I'm in constant conflict with the system of the school and the pattern of society. Must I give up all work? What is the right way to earn a living? Is there a way of living that does not perpetuate conflict? I work as a teacher and am in constant conflict with the system of the school and the patterns of society. Must I give up all work? What is the right way of earning a living? Is there a way of living that does not perpetuate conflict? Rather complex question, and we'll go into it step by step. We may. What is a teacher? Not only in a school, college and university, the master, the pupil, the professor, and so on. What is a teacher? Either a teacher gives information about history, physics, biology, and so on, or he's learning not only with the pupil, with the student, but also learning about himself. This is a whole process of learning, teaching, and understanding the whole movement of life. So we're asking, what is a teacher? Is there, apart from technological subjects like physics, chemistry, architecture, and so on, apart from that, what is a teacher? You understand my question? Is there such a person as a psychological teacher? If I am a teacher, not of biology or physics, but psychologically inform you, then will you understand the teacher, or will my pointing out help you to understand yourself? You follow my question? So we must be very careful and clear what we mean by a teacher. Is there a psychological teacher at all? Or only factual teacher, like a professor, chemistry, science, neurology, and so on? Is there a teacher who will help you to understand yourself? Do you understand my question? So, when the questioner says, I'm a teacher, I have to struggle not only with the established system of schools and education, but also my own life is a constant battle with myself. And must I give up all this? And then what shall I do if I give up all that? So he's asking not only what is a right teacher, but also he wants to find out what is a right living. I hope, yeah? What do you think is right living? As society exists now, there is no right living. You have to earn a livelihood. You have to family, you have children, you become responsible for them, and so you accept. If you have been to university and so on, you become an engineer, professor, electromagnetic teacher, and so on, so on, so on. As the society exists now, can we have a right to live? You understand my question? Or to search out a right living becomes merely a utopia, a wish for something more. So I'm asking myself, and you're asking yourself, I suppose, what is right living? What is one to do in a society which is corrupt, which has such contradictions in itself, in which there is so much injustice? All that is the society in which we live. And I am not only a teacher in a school or in college or university, and I'm asking myself, what shall I do? Are you asking this too, or you just waiting for me, for the speaker to tell you? What is one to do in a society so deteriorating, degenerating, conflict, wars, violence and terror? What is one to do? What is the right livelihood? Or would you ask the question, is it possible to live in this society not only having a right livelihood, but also to live without conflict? That's what the question also asks. Is that possible? To earn a livelihood righteously and also end all conflict within oneself. Right? Now, are these two separate things? Earning a living rightly and not having conflict in oneself or with society. Are these two separate, watertight compartments? Look, are we moving together? Or they go together? If I know how to live or aware or live a life without any conflict, which requires great deal of understanding of oneself and therefore enormous sense of intelligence, not the clever intelligence of the intellect, but the capacity to observe, to see objectively what is happening, both outwardly and inwardly, and knowing there is no difference between the outer and the inner. You're following me? It's like a tide. It goes out and comes in. The society in which we have created, and can I live in this society without any conflict in myself and at the same time have a right livelihood? You understand? Now, on which shall I lay emphasis? To the conflict? Right livelihood right living, or find out how to live a life without a single conflict. What would you do when this question is put to you and you have to answer it? You following this? What will you do? Which comes first? The bread or the other? You understand? Please don't look so. Join me. We are together exploring this problem, not I alone. You are also exploring. So we must both join together. Not let me talk and you listen. Agree or disagree. Saying it's not practical, it is not this, it's not that. Because it's your problem. So we're asking each other, is there a way of living which will naturally bring about a right livelihood and at the same time live a constant life without a single shadow of conflict? Is that possible? Is it possible for one to have a life without a single movement of struggle? Do you understand me? People have said you cannot live that way except in a monastery or become a religious monk. But then society looks after you. Right? You're following all this? Society looks after you. Because you have renounced the world and all the misery of the world, and you are committed to the service of God in quotes. Right? So, there, since you have given your life over to something or an idea or a person or an image or a symbol, because you are so deeply committed to that, you may ask society to look after you, which is what happens in a monastery. Right? Can we go on? Now, nobody believes anymore in monasteries. Nobody says, I will surrender myself to something. Right? If you do surrender yourself, it will be surrendering yourself to the image you have created about another, or the image which you have projected. You understand all this? So, what shall we do? Can you live a life without a single shadow of conflict? I say it is possible only when you have understood the significance of living. That is, living is action, living is relationship, right? Relationship and action, that is life. Therefore, one has to ask, what is right action under all circumstances? You following all this? Please join me. What is right action? Is there such a thing? Is there a right action which is absolute, not relative? So one has to go into the question of what is action. We're all interested in this. What is action? What do you mean by action? Which is living, right? Talking, acquiring knowledge, a relationship, however intimate, with another, and so on, so on. Life is action, movement. And life is also relationship with another. However shallow, however deep, however superficial. So we have to find both whether there is a right action and a right relationship. Right? If we want to answer this question deeply. What is our present relationship with another? Not romantic, imaginative, flowery, and all that superficial thing that disappears in a few minutes. But actually, what is our relationship with another? What is your relationship with a particular person? Perhaps intimate. It involves sex. It involves a dependence on each other, comforting each other, encouraging each other, possessing each other, and therefore jealousy, antagonism, all the rest of it. And the man or the woman goes off to the office or some kind of physical work, and there he is ambitious, greedy, competitive, aggressive to succeed, and comes back home and becomes a tame, friendly, perhaps affectionate husband, wife, and so on. Right? That is the actual daily of our relationship. Nobody can deny that. And we are asking, is that right relationship? We say no, certainly not. That would be absurd to say that is right relationship. So we say that, but continue in our own way. We say this is wrong, it's absurd to live that way, but we don't seem to be able to understand what is relationship, but accept the pattern set by society, by ourselves, right? So we're going to find out for ourselves what is right relationship. Is there such a thing? We may want it, we may wish it, we may long for it. But longing, wishing doesn't bring it about. So what one has to do is to go into it, seriously find out. Relationship in general is sensuous. Begin with that. Then, from sensuality, there is a companionship. A sense of dependence on each other, which means creating a family which is dependent on each other. And when there is uncertainty in that dependence, the pot boils over. So I say, to find out what is right relationship, one has to inquire into the great dependence on each other. Why do we depend on each other? We depend on the postman, the railway, and so on. We're not talking about it. Psychologically, in our relationship with each other, why we are so dependent? Is it that we are desperately lonely? And is it that we don't trust anybody, even one's own husband, wife? Follow? So we hope to trust someone, maybe my wife, my husband, but even that is rather suspicious. And also, dependence gives a sense of security, a protection against this vast world of terror. And also, we say, I love you. In that love, there is always this sense of being possessed and to possess. You follow? And when there is that situation, then arises all the conflict. Now, that is our present relationship with each other, intimate or otherwise. We create an image about each other and cling to that image. Then, are we on the right track? And so one realizes the moment you are tied to a person, tied to an idea, tied to a concept, corruption has begun. That is the thing to realize. And we don't want to realize. You understand this? If I am tied to you, an audience, friends and so on, I'm then dependent on you to give me encouragement, to fulfill myself, talking to you. Thereby encouraging vanity that follows, which is corruption. So can we live together without being tied? Without being dependent on each other, psychologically. So unless you find this out, you will always live in conflict, because life is relationship. Right? So can we objectively, without any motive, observe the consequences of attachment and let it go immediately. Attachment is not the opposite of detachment. You understand? Please give your mind to let your brain work. I'm attached and I struggle to be detached. And therefore I create the opposite. But there is no opposite. There is only what I have, which is attachment. I don't know if you follow this. The moment I have created the opposite, conflict comes into being. But there is only the fact of attachment, not detachment, pursue detachment. Only the fact that I'm attached. And I see the whole consequences of that attachment, in which actually there is no love. And can that attachment end? Not pursue detachment. You've understood this? So please follow this further. The mind has been trained, educated to create the opposite. And to create its opposite. I am violent, but I must not be violent. And therefore there is conflict. Right? Do you see this? But when I observe only violence, the nature, how it arises, observe, not analyze, observe, then there is only that and not the other. So you totally eliminate the conflict of the opposite. I'm helping this. We are talking about living a life without conflict. Pointing out it can be done, should be done, must be, if one wants to live it. Only deal with what is. Everything is wrong. You understand this? I'm angry. Don't say I should not. Remain, understand the nature of anger. when one lives that way, and it's possible to live so completely, remain with what is, not try to suppress it, go beyond it, escape from it, then what is withers away. You experiment with it. You understand what I'm saying? No. Look, sir, my son is dead. My son is there. I am attached to that son. I put all my hope in that son. I want to fulfill through the son. And unfortunately, some accident takes place, he is gone. And I shed tears. Loneliness, despair, the shock. Then I run away from it, right? I go to a church, read escapes. But whereas if I remain completely with the fact, God. And I'm lonely because I have depended on Him. I have never understood this sense of isolation. I've escaped from it all my life. So when I remain with what is, then I can go into it fully, completely, and go beyond. You understand? Please, sir, do it. As we said the other day, this is a serious talk, serious gathering, not for casual visitors, casual curiosity, casual criticism. But one must criticize, one must doubt. Not what the speaker is saying, but begin to doubt all that you two are clinging to. And then doubt what the speaker is. Don't begin to doubt what the speaker says. What he's saying is pointing out to yourself. So, when there is the freedom in relationship, which doesn't mean to do what you like. It's obviously what everybody is doing. If I don't like the present woman, I go off with another woman. And the agony of divorce and all that business. Whereas if I really understood the nature of relationship, which can only exist when there is no attachment, when there is no image about each other, then there's real communion with each other. And also, what is right action? Well, that's what he says. Life is relationship and action. You can't escape from this. What is right action? Which must be right under all circumstances. Whether in the Western culture, the Eastern culture. In the communist world, there it's more difficult because you daren't speak. You daren't act. You act according to the edicts of the dictator and his group. So there is no sense of freedom. So we're asking, what is right action? To find that out, we must inquire into what is our action now, right? What is our action based on? Either on an ideal, right? On a principle, or on certain values. Or I do what I want to do. Please inquire into all this. Either it's projected ideals, concepts, experiences, or values, or do what you please. The moment you want to do something, do it, which is the latest cry of the psychologists. Don't have inhibition, do what you want. That's what is actually going on in the world. And is that right action? What does action mean? The doing, right? The doing now. That is action. Is that action based on your past experience? If it is, you are acting according to your past memory of an experience. So the past is dictating your action in the present. Right? I want you to follow. Are you interested in all this? Tell me, are you interested in all this? Do you really want to find out what is right action? You may temporarily, but it demands tremendous inquiry into all this. Not accept some authoritarian assertions. So our actions are based on memories, past experience, or a projected concept, either according to Marx or to the church or some idealistic, romantic business brought over from India. Which means you are always acting according to the past or the enticing future. Right? This is a fact. And is that action? We have accepted that as action. That's our norm. That's our pattern. Our brain is conditioned, our mind and soul, our heart, according to that. We are questioning We are doubting that. We are saying that's not action. Action can only be when there is complete freedom from the past and the future. And when you use the word right, it means precise. Action which is not based on motive. Action which is not directed, committed. All the understanding of all this, what is right action, right relationship, the understanding of it brings about intelligence. You understand? Not the intelligence of the intellect, but that profound intelligence which is not yours or mine. And that intelligence will dictate what you will do to earn a livelihood. Zabekon, you have understood? Without that intelligence, your livelihood will be dictated by circumstances. If you have that, when there is that intelligence, you may be a gardener, a cook, something, it doesn't matter. There is, you see, now our minds are trained to accept status, position. And when one denies, when one has understood all that, in the very understanding of all that is intelligence, which will help, which will show what is the right livelihood. Right? Now we all heard this for an hour and for 45 minutes, one question. Will you do something about it? Or carry on with your usual way. That's why it demands a great deal of inquiry. Denying every form of experience in that inquiry. So there is a way of living in which there is no conflict. And because there is no conflict, there is intelligence which will show the way of right living.
Second century. He talked a great deal about Shunyata.
Yes.
Void.
Yes.
And this has a very close association with insight. And the full of, I believe the full of data Buddhist thought owes its strength to this Nagarjuna's idea of shunyata as being something which is pure, discharge, and there is no insight without shunyata. I'll put it that way. And then he also said that without understanding the outer, there is no possibility of going within. Then he also made a statement which seems to be relations. Samsara is nirvana, and nirvana is samsara.
I cannot understand.
Samsara is
Sir, you're using sensitive words, perhaps some of us may understand. You have to explain it.
samsara is worldly life, all remains, suffering, dukkha. We call it
Sorrow.
samsara. Nirvana is state of bliss, liberation. He said samsara is nirvana. Nirvana is samsara. And this is explained by the Buddhist scholars through Procastinaship. The whole thing is very interrelated, conditioned origination. So this is a very powerful influence over the Buddhist thought today, as I understand it. And I would like this to be examined in the context of what they mean.
What is the, I haven't understood this yet.
The first thing is the importance of
Shunyata.
shunyata.
Yes, I will.
Because what do you mean by that word sunyata?
Yes, may I explain from the Buddhist point of view? I will explain. Shunyata is literally, it means void, empty, void, empty, Shunyata.
Nothingness. Sunyata.
Nothing.
I know the meaning.
The meaning, that is a literal meaning. But the significance, it is attributed by Western Buddhist scholars mostly to Naga. That is incorrect. It is the Buddha who said this. And Nagarjuna, as a great thinker, philosopher, developed it into a system. Whereas Buddha said it very simply. And Ananda, who was Buddha's nearest associate, companion, disciple, asked one day, "Sir, it is said the world is Sunya. World is Sunya, empty. What does it mean? To what extent it is Sunya, empty?" He said, "Ananda, it is without self." He used the word atta, atman. It is without self and anything pertaining to self. Therefore it is Sunya. It is very clearly explained. In many other places he told a man, "See the world as Sunya and you are liberated." And these are the original statements. Nagarjuna took these ideas and developed by his Madhyamikarika based on Pratityasamutpad, that is dependent origination, or I would rather call it the conditioned genesis. And on that philosophy, that is, everything is interdependent, relative, nothing is absolute, everything is cause and effect, and cause cannot be separated from the result, effect cannot be separated, it's a continuity, and that is time also. And on this philosophy, Nagarjuna developed very highly as a system this teaching of Sunyata as void. And that is exactly what Krishnaji says also. There is no self, and you see it, and every problem is solved. There is no complication, there is no problem. That is how I see it in relation to his explanation. Then the second thing you said, what was the second? Between and the yes. That is exactly what Krishnaji and Dr. Bo discussed as actuality and truth, or reality and truth, and it is published in that new book. And that is Samvriti Satya and Paramartha Satya. This is also accepted Buddhist philosophical position. Samriti Satya is conventional. That is what we do. What can you do? These things. Samriti Satya within duality, within relativity. That you can't say this is false, this state. But in another sense, this is not so. But Samriti Satya is that conventional truth. Paramartha Satya is the ultimate absolute truth. These two also cannot be separated. Yes, but Nagarjuna clearly says in one place in Martini Karika, one who cannot see, does not see the conventional truth is incapable of arriving at the ultimate. He says. The third position was, I think, Nirvana and Samsara. That is also Nagarjuna says in Martini Karika. He says, the idea of the word heart. He says that Nirvana has no difference whatsoever from samsara and samsara. Read by the word samsara, the strict definition samsara is the continuity of our existence. And I remember once I put this question to Krishnaji in Paris. Personally, there was nobody except him and myself.
Two wise people.
I don't know, but I would say Krishnaji, there is a Nagarjuna statement like this. It is very interesting to say it today. I asked him what he thought. Then to myself, I said, who is Nagarjuna? I said, that you but yes. Oh, he said, no, because he was from Andhra, supposed to be from Andhra. Yes. And then I explained to him what Nagarjuna was historically, and a thinker and a philosopher. I he asked me, what was it? Only knows writing. Two writings about it, but that only state realization. Then Krishnaji paused for a minute and asked me, what did Buddha say about all this? I said, nothing. That is correct. Then you said, with the finger like this, I remember very well, that Suarez, whose house? Suarez house. That is wrong. Because I was always doubtful. And I did not accept Nagarjuna's statement so clearly, definitely saying Nirvana and Samsara are the same.
Sir, I'm not quite sure that we understand, all of us.
Yes. Will you explain this position?
No, may I ask this to explain this more?
Yes.
What does samskara mean actually?
Samsara.
Samskara in Sanskrit.
Samsara. It is Sanskrit, Pali both samsara.
Yes,
Samskara is another thing. Is another thing. Samskara. This is samsara. S-A-M-S-A-R-A. Samsara. Samsara literally means wandering, going on.
And samskara means?
Samskara means construction. That is all our thinking.
The past.
Belongs to the past.
That's what he has understood.
Yes, that belongs to the past. All our sanskaras are work for the memory, knowledge,
yes, that's right.
Learning and all. Yes.
Like an old man going back, living in the past.
That's it. But samsara is continuity. Nirvana, we can't define.
No, non-modalities.
Whatever it is never defined in positive terms by the Buddha. Always, whenever he was asked, he said, no, that is not.
Right.
Yes.
So you have asked your questions. Now, sir, better ask your questions too in relation to the others.
Yes. I know. That is not, the question is not from me, from you. My question I am asking from you.
What?
Yes, there are many questions, but as we have
same time.
Yes. One question is, both I will say it, you can take it. One question is that in Western philosophy, Western thought, free will has played a very important place.
Free will.
Free will, absolute free will.
Free will.
Yes, free will.
Will.
Yes. According to the same philosophy that Mr. Narayan said, that conditional relation, that is cause and effect, Pratik Samutpada.
Yes.
According to that philosophy, such a thing is important. Because all our thinking, all our observation, all our work, all our knowledge is connected.
Yes.
Therefore, if there is a free will, it is free only in a relative and relative. It is not absolute. That is the free will. That is one question.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. Very deeply.
What is will? What is will? How do you explain will?
Will is that you decide.
No. What is the origin, the beginning of will? I will do this. I won't do that. Now, what is the meaning of this? No. Is it not desire? Desire accentuated, strengthened, which we call will. Right? Huh? In that there is determination. Yeah. I desire that, and to achieve that, I make an effort. That effort, the motive of that effort is desire. So, will is desire, right?
Certainly, it is a form of desire.
Huh?
It is a form of desire.
This is a form of desire. Now, can desire ever be free?
That is what I wanted to hear from you. No, because you don't like to say that, but I want to say it.
Desire can never, it can change the objects of desire. I can desire 1 year to go to buy this, and next year that change, but desire is constant. The objects vary. And the strengthening of desire, I will do that. The will is in operation. Will is desire. Now, can desire ever be free? But we say free will exists because I can choose between this and that, between this job and that job. I can go, except on totalitarian states, I can go from England to France, free. So the idea of free will is cultivated with a sense that human beings are free to choose. What does that mean? To choose. I can choose between blue jeans and something else, between this car and that car, between that house and so on. But why should I choose at all? A apart from material things, apart from certain books and so on. That's why is there choice? I'm a Catholic. I become a Catholicism, become a Zen Buddhist. If I'm a Zen, I become something else. And I prove. Why? Why is there choice at all? Which gives one the impression that I'm free to choose. So I'm asking, why is there the necessity of choice at all? If I'm a Catholic, and so the whole significance of Catholicism, with its abstractions, with its rituals, dogmas, and a whole circus round in it, and I abandon that, why should I join something else? Because when I've investigated this, I've investigated all the religions. So choice must exist only when the mind is confused. When it's clear, there's no choice. I haven't fully answered it. Devotedly, of course. Yeah, will is something else. Will is, the will is something inherited or is part of the genetic code, the will to be. You see, but that's a very convenient way of explaining away. First he went to Adam and Eve, the serpent and the apple, and God, and then put everything as the primal cry.
Yes, that is right. Lot of creation there. Lot of creation there, mental creation.
I think if one observes, one can see that will is the result of desire, but I think people have the impression that will is something entirely different. And I think
Yes.
that it's...
Will is part of something sacred.
Yes. That's what people...
Yes, something derived from the divine being.
According to Western way.
More or less, I mean, if I don't know very much Western philosophy, but what people with whom I have talked, and they may not be sufficiently informed, but they have given me the impression that will is something not quite human, not quite desire, not quite something that you cultivate. It is born out of the original sin, original God, so on, so on, so on. But if one puts all that aside, which are all really theoretical, problematical, and rather superstitious, if you put all that aside, then what is will and what is choice, and what is action without choice and will? That is the problem. Is there any action which is not compounded with will? I don't know what the Buddhas and...
Would you say that insight
Yes.
is not result of will? It has nothing to do
Oh,
with will.
nothing whatever to do.
No, not it.
All desire, all memory.
Yes, yes.
Insight is something which is will and also analysis.
Yes. Insight is see. And in that see, there is no choice, there is no discrimination, there is no judgment, there is no moral or immoral value judgment. You see.
Insight is not result of will, nor is it result of analysis.
No.
No.
No, but you see, this is becoming theoretical. You're making it so theoretical. You are making it, sir, excuse me, sir. You are making it theoretical. You are defining it. This is not this, it's not that, it's not that. And you put them inside. Then why discuss it?
Because there is insight.
No. No. Now I am going to point out we are talking about again action in which there is no choice, in which there is no effort as well. Is there such action? I don't know, sir. Please.
There is such an action.
Huh?
There is such an action.
You know it? Or is it a theory? Forgive me, I must be. You see, forgive me, sir. I want to move away, if you will forgive me, and I'm not manipulative. One should move away from theory,
Yes.
from ideas, from conclusions, but find out for oneself the truth of that action, which is there an action in which there is no effort of will at all, and there is no choice. So, what is correct action in which there is no will and choice, no desire, will or desire? Find that out, one must be very clear, mustn't one, the nature of desire. And desire is part of sensation. And desire being part of sensation, and thought identifies itself with that sensation. And through identification, the I is built up, the ego. And the ego then says, I must, or I will not. So we are trying to find out that there's an action, not based on the principle of ideals, on desire, on will, not spontaneous. That word is a rather dangerous word because nobody is spontaneous. One thinks one can be spontaneous, but it is because one must be totally free to be spontaneous. So what is there such action?